Hayase and greetings. Good morning and good afternoon and good evening. Buenas noches and boa noite. Thank you for joining our multilingual Zoom seminar, a Kafu belonging to Ryukyuan Gentry Discovered in Brazil. My name is Hara, and I'm in charge of the immigration project here at the Okinawa Prefectural Library. Today, I'll be serving as your host for the first half of this seminar, which will be in Japanese. Today, we are joined by a total of roughly 400 people from around the globe, from Japan, Hawaii, the United States, Brazil, Peru, Argentina, Bolivia, and Canada, among other places. Our aim is to develop a global community for learning Okinawan history. Now for a few remarks is our new director, Katsumi Ogimi. Haitai and greetings. My name is Katsumi Ogimi, new director of the Okinawa Prefectural Library. Thank you for taking the time to join our seminar today. This seminar is brought to you in multiple language via simultaneous interpretation. Our aim is to delve and spread the World Uchinanchu Network by learning about Ryukyuan and Okinawan history while connecting with Uchinanchu community overseas as well as people all over the globe. Today's theme, a Kafu belonging to a gentry discovered in Brazil, is on a document of great historical significance from the Ryukyu Kingdom area. It was donated to our library during our trip to Campo Grande, Brazil, which was aimed at researching and collecting resources on immigration history. When we publicly announced this last May, it was covered widely by the local media here in Okinawa. When I learned of this, considering that much of Okinawa's historical materials and artifacts were lost in the Battle of Okinawa, I was deeply moved by the fact that a historical document was kept safely on the other side of the world. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to the Shirado family in Brazil for their donation. I'd also like to thank the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande, as well as the Okinawa Association in Ribeira Valley, Brazil, for their cooperation in our efforts. Currently, we are holding an exhibition of digital photographs which we took during our trip to Brazil. One of our speakers will tell you about that later. I'd also like to thank Ms. Chiaki Hayase, who will educate us about the contents of the Kafu, as well as Marcel Asato of the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande and Nilton Shirado, who will tell us how the Kafu made its way to Brazil. Thank you all for agreeing to speak today. I'm also looking forward to their presentations along with you all. In closing, I'd like to ask for your continued support and cooperation with our library's efforts for genealogical research and collection of historical resources. August 28th, 2024. Katsumi Ogimi, Director, Okinawa Prefectural Library. Thank you, Ms. Ogimi. Now let us begin today's talk. Let us introduce you to Chiaki Hayase. Ms. Hayase Chiaki currently is a curator at the Gosamaru Historical Materials Library in Nakagusuku Village. From 2020 to 2022, she was a member of our immigration project and offered her expertise in holding exhibitions and archiving historical resources. In addition to being a curator, she is also an archivist as well as a librarian and has extensive knowledge on documents of historical value. Her area of expertise is on metalworks, and she also transcribes ancient Japanese documents. Her focus is on cultural properties related to Okinawa and Ryukyu. Ms. Hayase, the floor is yours. Hello, my name is Chiaki Hayase, curator at the Gosamaru Historical Materials Library in Nakagusuku Village. Today, I'd like to talk about the Shinzan-Mitsu clan Kafu, a historical document which was in the possession of the Shirado family, which was discovered in Brazil. It's my pleasure to be here today. The reason why I'm speaking to you today is because in February of last year, Mr. Hara of the Okinawa Prefectural Library asked me to archive a historical document called a Kafu, which our team brought back from a trip to Brazil. The Kafu, which was kept in the home of the Shirado family in Brazil, was sealed onto a scrapbook. The pages were not in sequential order and its cover was missing. However, inscribed on traditional Japanese paper designed particularly for Kafu was a family tree. In addition, since it had the Shuri no In, which is the official seal or stamp of the Ryukyu kingdom, it was clear that this was a Kafu created during the Ryukyu kingdom era. I then organized the photographs and placed the pages in accordance with the designated form of a Kafu. What I noticed then was that sealed on scrapbook was not only a Kafu, but a koseki, a family register, as well as a marriage registration. These documents were from the Meiji era, 1918. I then learned that the two Kafus for the same clan are part of the collection at the Naha City Museum of History. So I went to the museum to take a look at the two Kafus. Today, I'd like to share with you my findings from that visit. As our time is limited, my explanation will be limited to an overview. Today, I'd like to cover the following topics: the contents of the Shinzan-Mitsu clan Kafu, the contents of the family register, and the connections between the three Kafus. Let me first touch on basic terminology related to the Ryukyuan history. A Kafu is a record on families who are granted gentry class status and primarily contains information on family relations and professional history. Two copies were made. One was kept in the Ryukyu Kingdom Keizuza Bureau of Genealogy, and the other was kept in the home of each family. In addition, information was added or revised in a process called shitsugi once every 5 years. At the time of the shitsugi, the information was checked by a government official just as it was when the initial application was submitted, and the information was added to the Kafu. When Okinawa was an independent kingdom called Ryukyu, members of the ruling class of the royal government were referred to as samurai and given gentry class status. Those who did not have a Kafu, who engaged in farming or fisheries, who had the duty to pay taxes, were called hyakusho. If a family had a Kafu, it meant that the family belonged to the ruling class during the Ryukyu kingdom era. The term Shinzan indicates the social class of a particular family. The royal government of the Ryukyu kingdom was called Shuri Ofu. Administrative documents issued by the Shuri royal government, like official documents such as a notice appointment and official notice, were sealed with a Shuri no In. It was also, of course, sealed on a Kafu. The Keizuza, established in 1689, was the official government office responsible for handling Kafu. It was there where many Kafu were compiled. The status of those families which created Kafu at the time were called Fudai, and those whose Kafus were created after 1729 were called Shinzan. Moreover, during the turbulent years towards the end of the Ryukyu Kingdom era, among Shinzan were those families who were granted gentry status as a reward for making financial contributions or doing charity work for the Ryukyu Kingdom. Therefore, the path of advancement for Fudai and Shinzan differed. This diagram shows the course of advancements within the Ryukyu Kingdom. The court rank goes up from right to left. The top row indicates social class. The second indicates the color of their kamuri or cap, and the third indicates their current court rank. In the Ryukyu Kingdom, materials and colors of clothing, cap, and hair ornaments were designated so people would know their class. When their court rank changed, so did the color of their cap. Oji, prince, and Aji, lord, on the left are members of the royal family and have no rank. They're close to the status of a king. Among the gentry class were the ranks Satonushi Sujime and Chikudun. Their course of advancement differed depending on their rank. A Shinzan takes the course of a Chikudun when advancing. It can be confusing, but please follow along while keeping in mind the basic terminology related to Ryukyuan history. Let me now share with you the content of the Shinzamitsu clan Kafu. Written on the first page of the Kafu is a family tree and information on the founder of the family. In the center of the Shuri no In seal are the words Shinzan Shoso Seikaku. Sosho means original family member of a branch family. To the right of the word Sosho are the following words. The founder of the family lived in present-day Tokara Islands, Kagoshima Islands, whose name was Seibo Shirado, the eldest son of Hidaka Rokuemon. The second son of the fourth in line from Seibo was Seikaku. There was initially a Kafu with Seibo as the original family member. A family then branched off from the original family in its fifth generation when Seikaku was the head. And a new Kafu was created for the Shiryu or branch family. I will discuss this in detail later. As opposed to Shiryu, the main family is called Seito. This family tree is based on the family tree in the Kafu. Beginning on the next page, each family member's career history as well as their achievements are written. Let's begin with Seikaku, the fifth in line in the family. Seikaku's Warabina was Mayamato. Warabina was the name one used until reaching adulthood. His Karana was Mitsuofu. Karana was the Chinese name Ryukyuans used. Everyone in the family used the same Karana. In the case of the Shirado family, the name was Mitsu. All members of the gentry class have this name. Seikaku was born as the second son of the fourth in line Seidin and Makamado of the Ryu clan on May 27, 1667. His wife's name was Umito, who was 2 years younger, a daughter of the Yo clan. In 1790, when Umito was 21, their eldest son, Seiko, was born. In 1799, their eldest daughter, Makamado, was born. In 1815, their second son, Seigen, was born. Third son, Seiryu, who was born in 1818, died at the age of 9. While Seikaku reached adulthood on September 21st, 1781, at the age of 14, He was unable to hold an official position for a while. In 1779, he was given the rank Chikudun Sashiki for the first time at the age of 32. At that time, his rank changed from Nia to Chikudun. In addition, in 1808, his rank went up to Okan, or Yellow Cap, at the age of 41, and his rank went up to Chikudun Peichin. Then he became Goyoi Okura. Goyoi Okura was a department responsible for gathering and preparing supplies in the event of an emergency, such as a natural disaster. In 1837, he assumed the post Seido Zashiki at the age of 70. Since his court rank went up, he was now called a Peichin. The following year, during King Shoiku's enthronement ceremony, he was given the rank Zashiki. On July 20th, 1842, Seikaku's wife Umito of the Yo clan passed away at the age of 74. 3 years later, on July 22nd, 1845, Seikaku passed away at the age of 79. Next is sixth-in-line Seiko, Seikaku's eldest son. His Warabina childhood name was Umikame. His Karana Chinese name was Mitsushokun. He was born on December 9th, 1790. He married Mazuru of the Heki clan. In 1811, eldest son Seicho was born, and in 1813, second son Seiken. Seiken died at the age of 3. On December 21st, 1804, Seiko reached adulthood at the age of 14. In 1819, he was given the rank Chikudun Zashiki at the age of 29. He then ascended to Seido Zashiki in 1854 at the age of 64, and Zashiki in 1857 at the age of 67. In 1840, he was appointed the official post called Shinobesoza Hisha at the age of 50. Shinobosezai refers to a department responsible for the royal government's tributes to Kagoshima. Hisha worked under the Oyako. In 1848, Seiko assumed the post Sokumigashira of Naha at the age of 58. This post involved overseeing disaster and emergency management in Naha. Seiko was appointed this post in 1852, 1855, and 1858. He achieved the post called Izumizaki Gakko Nushidori in 1850 at the age of 60. In 1853, he assumed the post Moyako Okura Oyako. This post involved overseeing the procurement of grains and other commodities from Miyako and Yaeyama Islands. However, those assigned this post were not sent to Miyako Island. In May 1859, he was appointed Soyokome of Naha at the age of 69. This post involved overseeing public security and safety in the city. Members of the gentry class from Naha were appointed. In some cases, they were granted land after they retired. While Seiko successfully assumed various positions after the age of 50, there is no record of him after 1859, so we don't know how far he made it up the rank. Now is seventh generation, Seicho. His Warabina childhood name was Umikana. Karana was Mitsugenko. He was born as the eldest son of Seiko on June 12, 1811. He married Umikame, daughter of Gishitomi Chikudun Peichin Shobin of the Kyo clan. In 1840, their eldest daughter Mazuru was born. However, since they didn't have an heir male in place, second cousin Seishin, the seventh in line, succeeded the family name. Seicho reached adulthood on January 9th, 1825, at the age of 14. In December 1838, he received the rank Chikudun Peichin Zashiki at the age of 27 at King Shoiku's enthronement ceremony. After that, he was unemployed until 1857, when he assumed the post Shinoboseza Hisha at the age of 46. In 1858, the next year, he ascended to Kokan, or Yellow Cap, at King Shotai's wedding ceremony. In May 1859, he was appointed the post Fudara Tame Kenja for the islands of Aguni and Tokashiki. Fuda Aratame Kenja were officials sent to remote islands to collect taxes. They inspected Nimbetsucho family registers and Shumon Aratamecho religious registers. Seicho stayed on the islands for 5 months and returned in September. As for the second cousin Seishin, who succeeded the family name, there was a record of him in the Kafu owned by the Naha City Museum of History. I will discuss this later. Next is sixth in line Seigen, second son of Seigen. Please take a look at this diagram. His Warabina childhood name was Umihyakusai, and his Karana Chinese name was Mitsushoko. He was born on December 21st, 1815. He married Maushi, daughter of the Miyagi Chikudun Peichin, a Mukei, meaning she did not have a Kafu. In 1841, their eldest daughter Umito was born, and eldest son Seichi was born in 1843. On August 8th, 1829, Seigen reached adulthood at the age of 14. In 1852, he received the rank Chikudun at the age of 37. This is where Seigen's record ends. Seigen moved to Takimotokubu village early on and married a woman in the village. This will be clear when we look at the family register I will show you later. Mukei refers to a family without a kafu, in other words, farmers. While village officers were chosen from farmers in the village, since they came from the same families for generations, they were sometimes called Chikudun or Chikudun Peichin, even though they were not gentry. Seigen's wife's father, Miyagi Chikudun, was likely an example of this. Next is seventh in line, Seichi. His Warabina childhood name was Tarugani. His Karana childhood name was Mitsuheido. He was born as the eldest son of Seigen on November 26, 1843. He He reached adulthood on December 6, 1857, at the age of 14. The record in the Kafu ends here. This Kafu contains records beginning with the 5th in line Seikaku to the 7th in line Seichi, covering the years 1667 to 1859, a span of 92 years. The terms for all posts range from about 1 to 3 years. From the late 18th century to the 19th century, the Ryukyu kingdom became impoverished, and those in the lower gentry ranks struggled to be employed by the royal government. As a result, the second and third sons, unable to find work, relocated to rural villages to look for work. Now let's move on to the next document. This is a Koseki Shohon, a family register from 1910. It was issued on November 5th, 1910, by the village of Motobu. Listed as the head of the household is Seichi Shirado Gentry, age 67, residing at 44 Aza, which is village subsection Sakimotobu, Motobu village, Kunigami-gun. The previous head of the household is listed as Father Hyakusai Shirado. While there are some inconsistencies in the information, they're believed to be for the same person. Listed in this document are Seichi's wife and 8 children. A total of 23 members are listed. It says in the Koseki that the family property was inherited in 1866, which indicates that Hyakusai Seigen passed away before then and that he lived in Motobu Majiri. Seichi married Uto Kinjo from Sakimotobu. They had 1 daughter and 7 sons. Seichi's eldest daughter, Ushi, married Hidemasa Sakihama, a member of the gentry class. 1894, Seichi's eldest son, Seikin, married Uto from the same village. On October 10th, 1895, their eldest son, Seishin, was born. After that, their second son, Seigen, was born February 10th, 1901, and third son, Seikan, in 1904. Seigen was Mr. Nilton's grandfather. According to the Okinawan Migration Record Database, Seikin, Seichi's eldest son, emigrated to Canada as a railroad engineer on August 25th, 1907, at the age of 33. He died the following year, 1908, in Vancouver. Since Seikin had passed away, his eldest son, Seishin, became the household head. Seigen and wife Kamade married in February 1928 and migrated to Brazil in May 1928. After the Ryukyu kingdom was dismantled and Okinawa became a part of Japan, the population grew, leading to a food shortage. As a result of that, numerous people began emigrating overseas in order to make money. From the Shirado family, Seichi's eldest son, Seikin, grandsons Seigen and Seikin emigrated. The Kafu that was discovered on this occasion was preserved by the family of Seigen, who emigrated to Brazil. What's fascinating about the Mitsu clan Kafu, which was discovered in Brazil, is not only the fact that Kafu was found, but that a family register and marriage registration were found as well. For those directly connected with the content of the Kafu. Most of the Koseki which existed before the Battle of Okinawa were lost in the war. Because of that, even if a Kafu exists, the dots cannot be connected with a koseki. While there are some who make their own family trees, that's not the same as an official record. In addition, some Kafus were lost in the war. While it's stated in the database for the Sho royal family that there were a total of 2,891 Kafu in existence, 1,218 Kafu have been registered in the Naha Museum of History's database. This means that roughly over half were either lost or their whereabouts are unknown. This is a rare example of official documents which shed light on family roots. Next, let me talk about the relationship between the three Shinzan Mitsu clan Kafus. In the tree here, in the Shinzan Mitsu clan Kafu, the lineage ends with second cousin Seishin succeeding the family name. There is no record of Seishin. Fortunately, I was able to find a record on Seishin in a separate Kafu owned by the Naha City Museum of History. Using the book Ujishu, which is a catalog of Kafu published by the city of Naha, you can look up names of Kafus which were registered by the Keizuza, or Bureau of Genealogy. According to that book, there were 5 Mitsu clan Kafus which existed in the late Ryukyu Kingdom era. The physical existence of 3 of them have been confirmed to date. One of them is the Kafu that was donated to the Okinawa Prefectural Library. This Kafu is listed in Ujishu, it's numbered 2574. Moreover, 2 of the Kafu are in the collection at the Naha City Museum of History. One of these 2 is the Seito Shinzan Mitsu clan Kafu. It is number 2572 in Ujishu. The founder of this Kafu appears as Mitsuhie Shirado Peichin Seibo, who was the eldest son of Hidaka Rokuemon. This is the Kafu for the main family. The other Kafu is Shiryu Shinzan Mitsu clan Kafu, number 2575 in Ujishu. Okay, you may remember this name Seiden. Both Seikaku and Seishi are Seirin's children and are brothers. Based on this, we know that the 2 Kafu are those for branches of the family, which are closely related. In this Kafu, number 2575, it says Seijin, second son of 6th in line Seibu. Warabina, or childhood name Matsugane, Karana, or Chinese name Mitsukodo. He was born on September 26, 1842. Since his second cousin Seicho had no successor, Seishin succeeded the family line after submitting the change to the Shuri royal government on November 30th, 1860. In Seicho's Kafu, the record goes up to 1859, age 48. This means that after the 6th in line Seiko and 7th in line Seicho pass away in 1860, the family, his second cousin Seishin succeeded the family line after submitting an application to the government. In addition, In the Kafu for the main family, number 2572 in Ujishu, the family had no male heir in fifth in line Seikei's generation, and therefore Seirin's fourth child, Seiko, succeeded the family line. Based on this information, we know that Seirin's descendants are the link between the three Kafus. These are Seirin's children. Seiko, the fifth in line, was born as the fourth son of Seirin on December 29th, 1776. However, on July 18th, 1808, Seikei, a direct descendant of the main family and the fifth in line, died suddenly at the age of 41. Since Seikei's only child was daughter Umito, Seiko assumed the family line for the main family in 1841 at the age of 65. Since this was 33 years after Seikei had passed away, we can imagine that they had been in search of a successor who was more closely related, but were unable to find one. We can also see that when there's no heir to succeed the family line, a relative from the same generation succeeded the family line. This was a traditional practice. Seiko died on November 5th, 1861, at the age of 86. The records in this Kafu, the main family, goes up to 1877. Given that the Ryukyu domain was established in 1872, it is surprising that the Shitsugi was not done after that point. The Ryukyu kingdom was dismantled in 1879 and Okinawa Prefecture was established. Lastly, let me discuss the origin of the Mitsu clan. In 1638, Hidaka Rokuemon, who was from Nakanoshima, Satsuma Domain, present-day Tokara Islands, went to Ryukyu, accompanying the Ata Naizen for the Zaibangyo. Ata Naizen was an official post for the Satsuma Domain. There he married shrine maiden Maju and had two children. The two children were Seibo and Seijo. Rokuemon unfortunately drowned as a typhoon struck on his way back home in 1689. For that reason, he was given the posthumous Buddhist name Mitsukaite Sui. Kai means ocean and Sui means water. Then in 1689, when Seibo applied for the Kafu, he used the character Mitsu as the clan name. However, the application was denied due to a shortage of records and achievements. In 1729, Seibo's grandchild Sei gathered information once again and replied for the Kafu, which at the time of the application was approved, given the clan gentry status as a Shinza Mitsu clan. I will not go into detail, but the name of the Ata Naizen was Ata Tadayoshi, who was a feudal retainer of the Satsuma domain. The connections between the three Kafu shed light on the gentry society at the time, as well as the rules and regulations when succeeding the family line. In that sense, I believe this is a very valuable cultural property. I was very moved by what Uto Hidaka did. She safely kept the Kafu with her during the fierce Battle of Okinawa and passed on the family pride of being members of the gentry class to their descendants in Brazil. Sealed on the scrapbook to which the Kafu was sealed onto was a red piece of paper which said that Uto Hidaka had passed away. Written on the paper were the following: died December 5th, 1969, Uto Hidaka, age 95, posthumous name, Shukuseigan. According to the family register, Uto was the wife of Seigan's father, Seikin, who immigrated to Brazil. It appears that the Shirado family had close ties with the Sakihama family, another gentry clan, as several members of the two families have married. The mother of seventh-in-line Seishin, who succeeded the family line, was Magose, daughter of Sakihama Chukudun Peichin Hidemichi of the Gyu clan. When people married after immigrating, it was often the case that they married those who were from the same village in Okinawa. I believe that this was an extension of the common practice for members of the gentry class to marry one another. I'd like to express my deep gratitude to the Shirado family for keeping these records so safely. Thank you for your attention. And I'd also like to thank the staff at the Museum of History in Naha for their assistance in my research. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you. Next, we'd like to move on to Ms. Chiharu Yonahara for a presentation on our current exhibition going on at our library. Ms. Yonahara, take it away. Hello, everyone. My name is Chiharu Yonahara of the Okinawa Prefectural Library. I'd like to tell you about our current exhibition, which is now on display on our library's 5th floor. Its title is Photographic Exhibition of Uchinanchu in Brazil, the People of Okinawa Colonia. It's part of our library's global promotion project called Ryukyuan Okinawa Chito Kokoro, Ryukyuan Okinawa Heart and Mind. The exhibition started on March 13th and will end on March 13th. So it will be open to the public for 2 months. The Okinawa Prefectural Library paid a visit to Brazil in February and August 2023. And during that trip, thanks to the cooperation of the Association of Okinawa Brazil and the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande, we were able to collect and conduct research on materials related to immigration, as well as provide genealogical research and consultations. This exhibition showcases a part of the materials we were able to collect to share with the public here in Okinawa. The exhibition consists of 3 themes: groups, weddings, and education. The majority of the photographs were taken in Campo Grande in areas along Ribeira. The photographs depict the lives of Okinawans in Brazil. Those photographs not included in the exhibit panels are displayed on the large monitors set up in the exhibition area in the form of a digital gallery. Firstly, in the groups area are personal records which we have digitized. They include group photographs and family photographs of first-generation immigrants taken in Campo Grande, where many Okinawans live, as well as Ribeira Valley, where the banana industry thrived. Also on display are personal records, such as migration records. These valuable records give us an idea of the lives of the first immigrants to arrive in Brazil, as well as the solidarity of Okinawan organizations such as the Kanjinkai, Association of Okinawans, and youth groups. Mata de Sagredo, Buracao, and Mata de Sorula were colonies developed by Okinawan immigrants. With Campo Grande's rapid growth, the population grew, the demand for agricultural production grew, and the Okinawan community began summoning those from their own hometowns to come live with them. Another area where immigrants from Okinawa settled was along the Santos Pukia Railway. Once the construction of the railroad, which extended from Santos to Shukia, began, many Okinawans worked as laborers for its construction. Along the railroad lines, stations like Aunes and Itari were constructed. Okinawans developed the land in the areas near the stations and settled there. These areas were located along the coast, had a subtropical climate with a lot of rainfall, which reminded immigrants of their homeland. In the next section, weddings, are several pictures of weddings. Weddings in the colony's communities were major events for the community as a whole. In addition to relatives and kin, as well as those from the same hometown, those living in neighboring villages who were also from the same hometown in Okinawa would attend the weddings as well. In those days, it was apparently common for parents from the same village to make arrangements for their children to marry. And the bride would be registered to marry before traveling to Brazil. Young immigrants first worked as tenant farmers and later started their own farms after saving money and gaining experience, contributing to the growth of the agricultural production in Brazil. Women also worked hard as invaluable laborers who were also raising their children. Captured in the photographs are joyous moments in which the beautiful bride and groom, surrounded by a pillow, which is said to be where the ring was placed, a wedding cake, and gorgeous flowers and cooking, who are enjoying conversing with one another. In the next section are photographs of the people and scenery of Okinawa Colonia. The various documents donated to our library are on display. Among them are images of youth who are warmly welcomed by classmates, commemorative photos taken at reunions, photos of people playing sanshin, photos of children dressed up, as well as those of tiled roofing, all scenes that could have been taken in Okinawa. Of the many documents that were donated to us, those with particular historical significance were passports, documents showing proof of overseas travel, as well as proof of international money transfers. These documents contain information essential in connecting the dots to understand the history accurately, such as the era and date of travel, as well as the purpose of the trip. The theme of the last section is education on Okinawa Colonia. As immigrants began staying in Brazil longer, they started building elementary schools through mutual cooperation as a means to address concerns over the children's education, as well as issues surrounding the Brazilian government's agricultural education program. The elementary school buildings, which were built by Okinawans, were donated to provinces and states and officially approved, providing the necessary educational infrastructure. The teachers were generally Brazilians. In the morning, courses were taught based on the Brazil's educational regulations, and in the afternoon, Japanese was taught as a form of supplementary education. Most of the photographs of such events as field day and athletic competitions and graduation. One thing that stands out about these photographs is that they are taken with the school building in the background. Strong presence of the school building may be a product of the strength of the Uchinanchu spirit. In addition, roughly 400 photographs not displayed in the panels can be viewed on the monitor in the exhibition space. We plan to catalog these resources as a part of our library's collection. We will also share widely with the public the history of Okinawans in Brazil and hope to contribute to academic research as well. This exhibition depicts Uchinanchu, who have been deeply rooted in Brazil, a land very far away from Okinawa. We have proudly never forgotten Okinawans' traditional culture and customs and have worked tirelessly to preserve it for future generations to shape their identity. Lastly, we've been able to put this exhibition together thanks to the cooperation of numerous Okinawans in Brazil. On behalf of all of our staff at the Okinawa Prefectural Library, we sincerely thank you. The photograph in the bracken was taken from the train headed for Itariri. I took this picture because Mr. Shinji Yonamine, who is my guide, said to me, "The scenery resembles Nago, doesn't it not?" Moving forward, we'd like to plan and carry out a wide range of programs so that the immigration history is not lost, to ensure that history is told accurately. We also aim to continue to collect and archive records on immigration history, which make contributions to academic research. We'll engage in these efforts without forgetting about the identity of those who immigrated overseas and to pass it on to future generations based on the Uchinachi network, which brings people together. Moreover, the PDF files for the exhibit panels will be up on our website after the completion of the exhibition around mid-May and will be available for downloading. We hope that many people will visit the library to take a look at the exhibition. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, Ms. Yonahara. Next is Mr. Asato from the Okinawa Association from Campo Grande. Good morning and good evening. My name is Marcel. I'm the current vice president of Heritage Consultancy and former president of the executive board of the Okinawa de Campo Grande Association. I chose this cover image that was created by designer Fabio Arakaki to demonstrate the integration of Okinawa immigrants here in Brazil, especially here in Campo Grande. I'm going to talk a little about our town's history, about our association projects. In 1908, a Japanese immigration to Brazil began with the arrival of the ship Kasatomaru in June. Almost half of the immigrants were from Okinawa. Initially, Okinawa immigrants were sent to coffee farms in the state of São Paulo. However, many were dissatisfied with the working conditions. So when they found out about the construction of the railway, many decided to set out on this new journey, arriving in Campo Grande in 1914, and ultimately they decided to settle there. And then Okinawan immigrants, through the acquisition and leasing of land, began to form colonies in Campo Grande, focusing mainly on horticulture initially. For example, plantations like Mata do Carura, Mata do Secreto, and Bandaria. Currently, Campo Grande has the second largest community of Okinawan descendants in Brazil. Around 60 to 70% of Nikkei, or people of Japanese descent, are Okinawan origin. In 1922, Kame Chinen, together with their other countrymen, founded the Campo Grande Okinawa Association, where the Japanese-Brazilian Association at the Visconde de Caru School exists today. The main objectives of the association were to serve as a center for mutual assistance, discussions, and problem solving and support of the Okinawan community in Campo Grande. For a long time, the Okinawan Association functioned almost like a consular organization. This was because after the war, Okinawa was under U.S. occupation until 1972. With Japan's defeat in World War II, the Japanese immigrant community was divided between two groups: the victorious, who did not accept the idea of Japan's defeat, and the defeatists, who accepted defeat. Ideological conflicts caused the relations among the Okinawan community to deteriorate. Thus, around 1960, the Okinawa Association, whose members were considered defeatists, demanded the transfer of part of the popular property on the site where Visconde de Caru School and the Japanese Brazilian Association are today. However, the proposal was not accepted and they decided to close the activities at that location. The donation of part of the land by Oshiro Takemori, in addition to enormous efforts from the community, allowed the construction of the Okinawa Association's own headquarters, where it remains today. In 1986, after several negotiations and with the support of numerous authorities and also the Okinawa Kenjin Association of Brazil, the Friendship and Cooperation Agreement between the Prefecture of Okinawa and the state of Mato Grosso do Sul was signed in Okinawa. Its main objectives were to achieve mutual development as well as deepen relations through exchanges in the cultural, scientific, technological, commercial, agribusiness, and similar fields. Currently, with the integration of Okinawans into Brazilian society, the objectives of the Okinawa Association focus on preserving and disseminating the history and culture of Okinawan immigrants. Through cultural events such as music, dance, and sports in various events that take place throughout the year. Here in these images, we can see some photos of old recent events. In this photo are Shishimai, the Kariushi Taiko group, and the association Sanshin group. These are our annual events: Zodiac Sign New Year, Sanshin Day, Mother's Day, June Festival, Shichigaji Matsuri, the association's anniversary, Uchinanchu Day, and Bounenkai, end of year celebration. Also, throughout the year, we hold promotional food events to raise funds for the association. Here are images of the parade that takes place on August 26th, which is Campo Grande's birthday. The Okinawa Association always participates in the parade, and it's a time when we can expose a little of our culture to the general public in the city. And this is our biggest celebration, the Festa Junina, a typically Brazilian celebration, but with an Okinawan touch. It's at this party that we serve the traditional goat soup. And this party of ours has become very famous in Campo Grande. In February 2023, we had the honor of receiving a visit from members of the Okinawa Prefectural Library who came to research old photos and documents on Okinawan immigrants. They also carried out genealogical consultations for those interested in knowing more about the history of their own families and that's when the Shirado family's Kafu was discovered. This partnership continued in August 2023, when more genealogical consultations were held open to the public during the Soba Festival at the Campo Grande Central Market. And we also jointly held an exhibition on the novel Noroeste Tetsudo and the Okinawans of Campo Grande in one of the city's shopping malls. I'm going to take this opportunity to tell a personal story that has everything to do with these studies and discoveries. In October last year, I had the opportunity to spend a weekend in Hawaii, where I was able to attend the meeting of the Okinawan Genealogical Society of Hawaii, or OGSH. The work of this organization was outstanding and important for us Okinawan descendants around the world. I was also able to learn more about the important influence of Okinawans in Hawaii. These These people show the grave Kyuzo Toyama, the father of Okinawa immigration. He would say something like, "Let's set out for the world. Our home is in the five continents." And in this other photo is Tisha Arakaki, who in 2018 put me in contact with Hiroaki Hara, who managed to gather information about my family. And through this information, together with OGSH, last year I had the opportunity to meet relatives in Hawaii. I was able to feel the strength of the Uchinachi network where people connect and help each other. Inspired by the OGSH, last year we decided to start a new project, the Campo Grande Okinawan Genealogical and Historical Study Group. Today, Patricia Agena is the organizer. The objective is precisely to continue genealogical and historical research because we believe that the more and more descendants are curious to know more about the stories of their own families. And it is also a way of rescuing descendants who have moved away closer to Okinawan culture. And it is also a way to allow people to reclaim their Okinawan identity, Uchinanchu, which was largely forgotten and even lost over time. These things allow us to realize how strong Okinawan culture is and how unique our history is, and that it must be remembered and preserved. So I'd like to thank the Okinawa Prefectural Library for this opportunity to tell you a little about our association and our story. And also thank you for the partnership with the Okinawa de Campo Grande Association. We know that your work, as well as that of OGSH, is extremely important for us and for future generations. Next speaker is Mr. Shirado. My name is Nilton Kiyoshi Shirado. I am 68 years old and I'm a third generation Okinawan. My grandparents are from Motobu. I served as president of the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande as well as chair of the Deliberation Council for the Japanese Brazilian Association. I now serve as the Deliberation and Financial Council Committee for the Okinawa Association as well as a civilian ambassador of Uchina. I'm now retired and live on a farm in Mata do Segurado, which my grandparents owned. I'm a farmer, just as my grandparents were. I'm the eldest son of my grandfather's eldest son. My grandfather was the first generation migrant. My grandfather, Seigen Shirado, was the second son. My grandfather was the only one from the family to immigrate to Brazil. The eldest brother stayed in Okinawa to look after their mother. However, since my grandfather's nephews had no sons, the family line consists of my grandfather, my father, and down to me. That's the family line. And this farm, which was owned by my grandfather, is now operated by my children, and it's in its fourth generation. So how did the Shirado family Kafu make its way to Brazil? During the war, my grandmother Uto Shirado carried this document with her like a treasure and protected it through through that fierce battle. My grandfather is the second son, and his older brother just had one son who did not have any children, so there was no one to inherit the family line. So that's why the Shirado family's successors moved to Campo Grande. My grandfather brought this family tree with him to Campo Grande. My grandfather was aware of the value of this document and kept it safely. How was this coffee, which belonged to the Ryukyuan Gentry, discovered in Brazil? The discovery of the Kafu was made possible by the hard work of Patricia Agena, vice president of the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande. In February 2023, she visited homes and conducted research on immigration-related resources. She found old passports, visas, and other documents related to immigrants to Okinawa, as well as documents in the possessions of the descendants of the first group immigrants from Okinawa who boarded the ship Kasatomaru. From the Kenjinkai Association of Okinawa's social media account, she invited people to bring in any documents they had to the office of the Kenjinkai. This was part of the research carried out by the staff at the Okinawa Prefectural Library. I was very curious about the value of this document. My grandfather had always told me that the seal on this document was very valuable. Many of my relatives had no idea about this document. What does this discovery mean for the Okinawan community in Campo Grande, both historically and culturally? It means a lot for the entire Shirado family. I'm very proud that we have such a document. I believe that with the discovery of this document, other documents will be discovered as well. By having people take a look at the document, it will make them want to engage in research, ask families about such documents. It will make them want to research their family history, and they will be able to put together their own family tree. This document will enable us to gain a deeper understanding of the social climate during the Ryukyu Kingdom era. How did the collaboration between the Okinawa Prefectural Library and the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande lead to this discovery? The desire and curiosity to know our family history and to research Okinawan immigration history was a mutual goal shared by both sides that brought us together to trace the footsteps of our ancestors and to share our findings with each community. How how did the executive board of the Association of Okinawa Campo Grande feel about their involvement in this discovery? How does that deepen the bond between Campo Grande and Okinawa? Without the hard work of the board of the Association of Okinawa, this document would never have seen the light of day, and no one would have known about its value. I thought it would be a document that would be passed down from generation to generation. But when you think about it, sharing and passing on family history is a beautiful thing. In any society, the family is the foundation. In Okinawa, the customs, everything is family based. Cooking has family ties. What you learned from your mother was inherited from your grandfather. That will ultimately lead to the preservation of culture. When a family passes on culture to the next generation, they share cultural ties. What type of impact did the discovery of the Kafu have on the Okinawan community in Campo Grande, and how does it affect the Uchinancho spirit? When we learned the importance of this document, it strengthened our family bond, and it gave us an enormous amount of pride and sense of belonging. This discovery awoke our community's Uchinanchu spirit and inspired us to find out more about our family roots and history and cherish it. I believe that this occasion gives us an opportunity to deepen our connection with our homeland and transmit our Okinawan's wisdom and culture. What does it mean to preserve what your ancestors left behind in order to pass on Okinawa's cultural heritage to future generations? Preserving what our ancestors left behind strengthens our identity and is invaluable in passing on Okinawa's rich culture to future generations. It is very important for future generations to know their family history. Why not start creating your own family tree right now? Thank you very much, Mr. Shirado. Last on the agenda is a closing remark by Mr. Eduardo Kanashiro. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the Okinawan Association of Campo Grande, I would first like to express my deep gratitude to the Okinawa Prefectural Library, represented here by its illustrious director, Katsumi Ogimi, and the dedicated staff members, Hiroaki Hara, Chiharu Yonahara, and Celso Akihide Shiroma, who came to Campo Grande on two occasions where the Kafu document was discovered. I want to especially thank the library for its tireless efforts in rescuing and preserving the rich history of Uchinanchu descendants around the world. His remarkable work in genealogical consultations not only strengthens our connection to our past, but also inspires us to continue Okinawan tradition and culture in new lands. Furthermore, I cannot fail to mention the valuable contributions of our local members. A special thank you to Nilton Shirado and his family, who shared their family story with us. I am also immensely grateful to our Vice President, Patricia Agena, for her exemplary conduct of the work here in Campo Grande, and to Marcel Arakaki Asato for his presentation on the history of our association. Finally, thank you to each and every one of you who took the time to be with us today. Let us continue to work together to preserve and enhance our Okinawan history. Thank you very much. Ippe Nihei Debiru. This concludes today's program. Thank you again for joining us today. See you in the next international seminar. Goodbye and have a good weekend.